Um, thank you for inviting me to your convention. It's great to be here. And I'm sorry, my canvas is a little too big. If I had known it was gonna, we don't know these things, but this is the size I'm comfortable with. This is what the size most of my paintings are about this size. And I paint on a lot of squares. So anyway, I know it's a watercolor convention. I bet everybody say acrylic. What are you doing at a watercolor convention? But it's water media. And also, I was a watercolor painter for years, and I loved it. I did well. I mean, it was great, and I hung out with all these in the Cleveland area. I hung out with wonderful painters from actually the Akron area, and they taught me so much about painting because I just we just hung out and painted all the time together. And then I had this desire to kind of, I was having some things going on in my life that weren't, exactly great. My life was changing. It was a divorce, okay? And, yeah, let's get to the point. And, just sitting at my drawing board doing these little stressful watercolors were just not cutting it for me. I wanted to throw some paint around. I wanted to, and also I just kind of, the way I felt about painting is I just really wanted to see brush strokes. I wanted to use white paint. I just wanted to change. And so the artist that I was painting with really supported me, guided me through this process. And I would take watercolor workshops and be the only acrylic painter in there. But and I've been with it ever since. So I love it. I want to share it with you. I'm going to share some of this, like the freedom. I love calling it the freedom because that's what it totally feels like to me. Um, it's so much fun. I just get lost in my paintings. And I don't copy my photographs exactly. I look at my photographs, I get inspired, I design them quickly, and then I just paint. I just paint with happiness. And it shows, I hope. So here we go, because I'm not going to waste time. I brought 2 canvases today. Told you I'm fast. Fast. So I'm going to start off with my famous Caribbean lady paintings. That's what everybody seems to love. And you can see my palette. And this is a stay wet palette. This is another reason I kind of switched. When I learned about this palette with the wet sponge on the bottom, paper on the top, I put my paints there. I keep it wet, put a lid on it. This paint will stay wet and usable for 2 weeks. It'll get moldy before it dries. So it's that you won't waste paint, because when I was doing the watercolor, one of the reasons I was hesitant about switching was I didn't want to waste the paint. But that's not a problem. And I always paint my canvas red first. I used to do orange. You can do orange or red, but nice warm color. You can see a little bit, always seems to know how to pop through at just the right places. I don't try to make it pop through in certain places, it just does. And so it's warm, and then I can just like start off with my darks and my lights, and it just takes me to where I want to go in my painting. Every single painting I do starts off in red, and you can see the paintings I brought. All of those were red first. And I put it on very loosely with a sponge brush. So here we go. I start off, my favorite color is Hooker's Green, and it's deep. I know they have it in watercolor, but it's not the same. This one's almost black. And I want to fill up my canvas. This is good. This is going to be a lady's head. And then I'm just going to, you know, this is how I do my people solid, almost like they're cut out of a cookie cutter. I don't know what that is. Okay, so then it's a lady. See, she's holding, you see her? I make them all dark first because I'm in the design stage, okay? So, and that's not really her head. I can paint around her head. This is like something that I can do in acrylic. Huh. And then I'm going to put another character here. And they're just, see, I'm actually copying off one of my own paintings. So these just I just keep kind of using my own paintings, and then they change every time. These ladies are gonna, this is gonna be a profile over here, but I'll do that later. And then I'm gonna make another person right here. This is their heads just start off as these blobs. Stay with me now. Huh? No, this is Hooker's green, and I add a little bit of alizarin crimson, which makes it like black, but it's almost black anyway. She's got she's gonna have her hand in a bucket, and she's just standing there. I never paint feet. I just put them in water so that I don't have to. You know. Yeah, I'm going. Yeah, I'm sorry. Now, this is my favorite brush. This is a Princeton. It's a synthetic. It's not. It's a for oil or acrylic, but it holds so much paint. I have so much control. Is that good? I can't see you anymore. Um, but it holds a lot of paint and not that much water. And I love this brush because I can get a point as fine as that, or I can get a line, and I can get the big flat area. So it's just great. Should I make one more character? Because I need to. Yeah, okay. Just one more. Maybe she's just going to be over here. But see, what they're going to be doing is they're going to be doing laundry. And they're talking. I don't like that. They're talking and working. Okay, you ready? This is the fun part. I dry my brush off. I mean, I wet it. I don't dry it. And then I pick it. I go into my white. White. Eh. Yes. And here I'm going to put clothes on them, just like this. Oh my gosh, it's so much fun. And it's just, I don't know, it's liberating. It really, really is. If you want the wind to be blowing a little bit, we'll just go like this, and it's going to go around this lady's head. And then she's holding cloth, and it's blowing. And okay, you want to see what they're going to look like a little bit more. So maybe her head will be going down here like that, and this is one of those rags. I can't define their profile until I cut in the background. Can you see? I'm sorry. Look at, I'm still painting. It's not gonna make any difference. I can't see what I'm doing. Okay. And then let's do this lady over here. She's got this, it's kind of shiny on her. Put a sleeve on her. Those are her. Yeah, it's, I guess. Um, okay. I'm going to throw some palm fronds in here. And I just kind of, I studied with a lot of, when I decided to switch to acrylic, I studied with a lot of acrylic painters, some good ones, of course, Burridge and Stephen Quiller, some of the guys from Akron that you probably don't know, Mark Moon, Fred Graff. But I just, I just really like it, and I learned so much. But you see how I've only used the two colors, but I've got my kind of my composition down. I don't mean them to look like monsters, but because I'm going to cut in the background with some maybe Naples yellow. So what I do is when I look at that color on that red. So I'm just going to cut a profile out with this wonderful brush. There you go. Cover up those dots. See what I mean? See, you get so scared when you're, oh my God, I made a mistake. Oh, it looks so terrible. It doesn't, because you can just keep working it, and you just don't stress. I I don't know about this lady, but uh, she's her hat's falling down over her head. Um, Squirrel came into my gap. I'm on YouTube now. I have a friend that we film classes that I sell off my website, $25 a class. But we started trying to be hip, started doing YouTube. We didn't really know what we were doing or what we were getting into, but it's gotten real popular. So I had this lady come into my gallery. I have a gallery in Mount Dora, a studio where I paint and show my work. She came in and she's like, I get so fussy. I get so tight. I just want to get in there and just and do every little detail. How can you be loose? How do you develop that? Look at, I'm smearing all that, but I don't care. Um, and I told her, and this thought just came to me yesterday. I was telling my husband about it last night. Um, it's kind of like, when you learn to do cursive handwriting when you were a kid, and you would just say you were learning the letter J, and you just take a whole page and do J, 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 J. That's how you learn. And then before you know it, you developed your own handwriting style. Just through doing that, you develop a style. Same with painting. You got to keep painting and painting and painting, and then you develop your style. And you can just do a ton of small paintings. I was telling her, I said, just take an apple and put it on the table and paint it like 10 times, 20 times on little pieces of paper, and look what I did, and develop your style. So anyway, I thought that was a good idea. And I don't know what to do about her, but she could just end it, she's fine. She's going to be okay. Yes, that frees you up too. I told her as she was walking out the door, use bigger brushes. As she ran out the door. And I was like, uh, so anyway. What color yellow is that? This is Naples yellow. I loved it in watercolor, and um, and I love it here. When I was teaching at Cheap Joe's one year, I told Joe, I said, we should just call that color butterscotch. I don't know why they named certain things, but butterscotch defines it so well. And but anyway, so she's holding white, and this paint will soak up and soak in. So it's after it dries, you're going to have to add another layer. But you can just tell these ladies are busy. Do you see where I'm going with this? I'm going to cut. Can you see? Okay, yeah, you can see. I'm going to cut. You can't really paint where it's wet, although you want to. There's a better profile. So they're looking at each other, maybe talking. I don't want to waste your time while I throw in my sky. Yeah, I love this 1-inch brush. This is mostly all I use, the 1/2 inch and the 1-inch. And then I use a tiny brush at the end to pop in my details. Now, it's not to say that I don't love to sit down and do details too, because there's a time at the end of the painting where I love to sit down and just kind of, go in there and play and really, really work, but not everywhere, just kind of more at the point of interest. I like to add the details or just certain areas, but not everywhere. I don't want the viewer to think, I'm not trying to impress the viewer that I can make everything look real. I'm trying to connect to the viewer's emotion, and I told this girl too. Another thing I said was, if don't if you're trying to paint a round cup, don't sit there and labor over shadowing and this and that and a million brush strokes to get it to look round. If you can say that this is a round cup in 3 brush strokes, think how exciting that would be. And I love that idea too. So I'm going to show you what these blues look like, because they're going to be like standing in water. So I'm just going to kind of go like this. Do you get this feeling? Do you see where I really messed up? I got all that, but I don't care because that'll dry and then I can just go over it again. Yeah, my watercolors got looser and looser, but at the same time, there were some of my watercolors, you know, I'll never forget. When I was about, I don't know, 30. I had taken a picture of a house, and I was in a local art show, and the house was real cute, flower boxes and all the whole bit. I made this painting so realistic to the photograph. You couldn't tell the difference from my painting from the photograph, and I was so proud of that. And I took it to the art show, and my high school art teacher was there. I said, Mrs. Wagner, look at what I did. And she goes, when are you going to stop painting from photographs? And it really hurt because she always knew how to hurt me. Because, she was always on my case. She was a really great watercolorist, and she was always on my case. So, and she was right. That was, it disappointed me, but at the same time, it stuck with me because I'm telling you about it. No, I start with a photograph. I'll start with a photograph and then I'll put it down. The big picture of the boats over there, I take photographs of boats whenever we're at the coast or something. And then I start drawing the boats, and then I just start fantasizing little houses around them and docks and trees. And I just take it from there. I put the photograph of the boat away, you know. Um, in a still life, I'll draw the basic shapes and then just put it down and decide what I need and go from there. It's you get used to doing it that way, and it's more for the good of the painting instead of trying to get exactly everything you see down. So I'm adding a little green to my water. This is Hooker's green mixed with a little bit of yellow, cad yellow. My color palette is on my website. I finally got my daughter-in-law to do my website. So great. I don't have to, all I have to do is tell her what I need on there, and she does it just right. And she even made it so you can go to my website and go connect right to YouTube and watch the YouTube videos. I would never know how to do that. So that's been a big help. We probably all have somebody like that, our kids that do that stuff, grandkids. But it's good. Yeah, it took us a while to figure out how to get these videos up and running and then on the website and everything, but we did that. See, it's hard to work when it's wet. I'm going to turn this, I'm going to pick it up and show you. Okay. Now it's, or wait, I'm going to do one more thing before I show you. It's hard because I still have a lot of red coming through, and I like to get to the point where all that red is covered up, but I'm going to give this girl down here like a red do-rag right there. It's just always kind of, it's always kind of nice because to pop some color. Hard to tell right now because I've got so much red background that's fighting with it, but this is going to be green. This is grasses back here. Yeah. So anyway, the yellow would be going up, then more green there. I'll work some more on this, but I'm gonna let it dry a little bit, and I'm gonna show it to you. And it, oh, this bucket's got to be like, I don't want you to see so much red because it's distracting. It's better. See? And it wasn't really stressful, and it was fun. And the thing I like too is when I switched to acrylic, I still couldn't handle not framing and not putting things in matted and framed. So I did all that. I bought a tent and I started doing the outdoor festivals. This is I was still living in Cleveland. When I was framing myself, this guy taught me how to frame, my framer guy. He came over and built me a frame table in my little condo. And tell you what, I'd get them all framed and there'd be one hair in there, you know? It was just like, oh. And so I was doing a show and the Cleveland Clinic, somebody that represents the Cleveland Clinic asked me to paint some sailboats for their lobby, asked me to paint on canvas. So because they didn't want glare and because they had a lot of windows. So I did, and I've never gone back because when I'm done with these, I just put them. I spray them with a varnish. I put a wire on the back, paint the sides a solid color. Not I don't paint the image around the sides. I paint it solid, and they're good to go. So that's been helpful too. I'm going to do real quick. I'm going to show you. Anybody that's taken a workshop with me knows too how tired you are at the end of the day after doing this. You know, every single brushstroke you do, you still have to make a decision. You have to think. And that really wears you down. That's what I tell Bruce anyway, because when I'm all tired when I get home. And I can't make dinner because I'm too tired. So, all right, I'm just going to start with like a vase right here. This is going to be a little still life. You know, I like painting flat, but I paint at an easel. But I do like painting flat. It's hard on the back after a while, but you can paint even juicier because it doesn't drip so much. You know, and so this is how I do flowers. I just start with the big, just like with the ladies, just big blobs, because I just kind of want to know where they're going to be. Yeah, I'm going to go right over it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is kind of just let me know where it is. Not really, as long as it takes, you know, water and paint. It's a water-based paint, so no, not really. It dries. Excuse me. What? You can, but you know what makes it? Put it out in the sun, and it just dries really fast. So I usually put it out in the sun or a hair dryer, but it dries. It dries pretty fast. Usually I'm working on two paintings just like this at the same time. So I'm going to draw in my other things. I'm going to do maybe a piece of fruit right here. um, I set the still life up, but yeah, it's not easy. If you've ever set up a still life, you know. This is like, I don't know, cutting board or something. This is a piece of fruit. Let's get to the good part, the wine glass. So yeah, here we're going to put a wine glass here. And then maybe a bottle. You know what? This is a really easy way to do a bottle. You kind of think um, like a church window, like that, and then just the right there, and then it's kind of symmetrical like that. It's like, don't ever tell your friends it was that easy. So there you go. So yeah, I kind of have it where I want it. I got a piece of fruit there, big thing. Maybe I don't know if I need another piece of fruit there. I don't think so. This is just going to be cloth. Oh, can you see it? Oh, you can see the bottom. That's the bottom on my stuff. But I'm going to show you about the flowers. Um, and this is all kind of, you let it dry. Then when it's dry, you go back in. I should I should have brought 3 canvases. These will not be finished, and I will probably finish these at home in my studio. If you ever get to Mount Dora, I do have a nice little studio there. Has anybody been there? You? Oh yeah, wow. Okay. Beautiful Mount Dora. My studio and Mount Dora. Yeah, I'm lucky because I get to, paint during the day, and sometimes I go all day and nobody comes in, which is fine. But that's sometimes I do, and it's nice to have people come in and visit, and have somebody to chat with, and uh, interested in painting, and it's just not because being an artist can be very kind of like a lot of solitude unless you paint with friends and stuff. It can be lonely, but having conventions and painting trips and groups to paint with is the best thing ever. So I feel like I have a good part of all of that. No, I really don't. Because I like this heavy body. I don't use palette knife. I don't use sculpting stuff, although somebody just gave me some. And I'm looking at it going, I don't know. I don't use any extenders or anything. I just use water. And most of my paint is Liquitex. I do like Liquitex. I know I had a different brand out here that's kind of Hobby Lobby, but that's right down the street. It's too convenient. Um, but I do like Liquitex the best, and Princeton brushes. You know what? I don't like my wine glass, so I'm gonna go like this. Look. Huh. Yeah, that was champagne or white wine. Yeah, it's gonna imagine that. So you can see, yeah, I would right now. I'm kind of figuring my light is coming from the left, and I'm filling stuff in on the left side. This piece of fruit over here, piece of cheese right here, and my board. And then this is going to be shadow. I love this. Want to see this cool shadow color? This is a cool shadow color. I didn't invent it. I did. Well, um, you know, I was teaching so much before the pandemic. I was just teaching all the time. I was having workshops in my studio, which I stopped. But I'm traveling around teaching workshops and doing a ton of shows and everything. And I wasn't really exploring painting for myself. So during that time, I got to just lock the door of the studio and explore and paint and actually paint things that I wanted to paint without trying to think of what was going to sell. You know what I mean? Just like And I discovered some new things, and this is one of them. This is a really cool shadow color. And I don't make puddles of color. I dip all of those onto my brush. So I start with light blue, which is like, okay, I rename all these. This is periwinkle. Into light blue, robin's egg blue. Of course, butterscotch, Naples yellow. And purple. They call it brilliant purple, but I call it lavender. So those colors, and all that's on my brush, same time. And then I just kind of put it on, and it's a nice, beautiful shadow color. Yeah, it's light blue, violet, purple, and Naples yellow. And I'm going to make, my white starts to soak in, and then that turns kind of gray. So I'm going to turn this around because I want to pick up the ladies again. But, oh, no, before I do that, I'm going to dip into some cadmium yellow medium and my Hooker's green. And with this brush, I take the point, I stick it down. Oh yeah. Okay. I take the point, I stick it down in there, and then I just smash it, drag it, and lift it to a point. And then that kind of gives me the feeling of leaves, which gives me security that it's okay. And I'm not trying to make it look like that decorative painting or anything, because it's going to loosen itself up. But anyway, sort of like that. Now, if I put that much green up there, it's got to be somewhere else, right? So I'm going to make it this green pear down here. Counterbalance that. Maybe another green pear here. It's going to reflect a little bit in my wine. It's going to reflect onto my vase. It's going to move all over the place. Okay, now, oh wait. My wine bottle back there. And I'm going to take some red. This is cad red. And put it in my wine glass here. Lighten up the top a little bit. I'm not a red wine drinker, so I tend to, kind of fool around with it till I can figure out that now it looks like mud. So I'm just going to leave it alone for a minute. That's cheese, in case you didn't know. And you know what? That should be the dark side. This should be the light side right here. Oh, brother. But then you just let it dry and then do that. And this is going to be a really nice, there's nothing like a nice, juicy still life. I think all artists should paint a still life every now and then. It's just a good challenge. You can hit it with whatever style you want. Sometimes, I play this game in my head. I play a lot of games in my head, but one of the games is to become a painter of painting what you really want to paint. Picture yourself in the most fabulous painting studio that there ever is. I mean, your dream studio. Maybe big windows, shiny wood floors, overlooking the ocean or the mountains. It's beautiful. You've got everything. The lighting's perfect. You're sitting there at your easel. What are you painting? In this fantasy of this most perfect painting place. And to me, if I put myself there, I'm painting a big, juicy still life. Lots of brush strokes, lots of color, lots of light, That's what I'm painting in this beautiful studio. So it's kind of a nice little challenge to bring out, what's inside of you, what you want to really, you know, do. What's inside of you. Does that make sense? I don't know. I've told that to people in workshops and they just kind of look at me. I'm like, okay. So anyway, and I'm going to turn this around. So far, now I'm going to get the question. I'm going to get the question of why can't you just paint the background and then paint the thing in front and like leave that as a red background? Even if I was going to leave this as a red background, I would still paint it red because I like to paint around things because we're painting in a two-dimensional, um, world, and it's, I'm not trying to uh, make it look like there's space between the vase and the background. It's all on the same plane in a painting. Bruce, get a picture of how many people are in this room, okay? All right, so I'm going to put this up. Fabula. We also have in Leesburg, which is close to me, there's a privately owned art place, and also Cheap Joe's, of course. I just taught it. Oh, look how it ran. I just taught at Cheap Joe. See that? Ah, poor girl. She's she's fine. Sometimes things happen and you're going, wow, cool. I need that. And you just leave it. So it's not that big of a deal. I like to go back in at this point. I got to get a little bit more Hooker's green. I should go through Hooker's green. I should have left it out. There's two Hooker's green in acrylic, and if you get the wrong one, it's just a regular light green. I'm going to go back in and, oh, she's getting me water. Do the, he's good. I picked up green here. I just kind of go in and she looks like a lizard claw. Please stand by. Uh, you know, you're painting in front of a room of people. It's like, yeah, it's going to happen. I don't like her hands at all. This is bad, bad, bad. So you know what I'm just going to do? I'm going to go like this, cover that up a little bit, and I'll figure that out later when it dries. I'll do that later. Get this. Big butt. Got to have a little, something. I love the color combination too of the dark brown skin tones, the Naples yellow, the blues. And the white. I love those. I love that color combination. See how that white pops after it's been dry? And it's not even that dry. This, that's a big mess over there. I have to get, please stand by. I have to get Naples yellow. I think it's right here. It's a titanium. I can't see. That's my problem. Did I? Oh, that's right. You know, I I really. That's why I paint like this. I can't see. I think it's true. Once I get that cataract surgery, I'm going to be going, what? Yeah. So trying a kid. And people, yeah, I actually. You know what? And that story is partly true. But it's just fun. I got to refigure her arm. And that'll take some thinking back at the studio. Yes, heavy body. Yeah. No. No, I don't use any of that, like, um what do you call it? Just aids or whatever, mediums or stuff like that. I just don't. Um and I should experiment with them, but right now I'm just painting. And we got an art show next week and we're gonna do Winter Park. And so I got to make sure I get all my paintings together and wired, and I'll sit there in the heat for 2 days. Eh, it's getting harder to do. After that, we're in November. We're going to do Venice, and yeah, check my if you're interested in a workshop or something. Check my website, because my daughter-in-law is really keeping up with uh, the information on there on workshops and things like that. So, which is good. And I know I'll be in Bonita and Sanibel in the winter. Oh, the whole Florida. I know. What's cool is with this YouTube thing, I'm getting comments from all over the world. And somebody asked me, could you come teach a workshop in Montenegro? I'm like, will you pay me to come to Montenegro? Yeah, we were that we went there and about 4 years ago. And but you know, that's not going to happen. So you can kind of see how this is going, and then I got to check my time. Anybody else have questions about anything? I can't see you if you raise your hand. You just have to blurt out.
So how many applications do you have when people you got?
Oh, it's a good question. Probably two more. Two more.
So this is second, right?
No, this is still the first, I think. Yeah, I mean, but I'll work on this in the studio, and then probably I like to go in the next day and pop out my whites one more time, because they have to go on where it's bone dry, and then that looks really really good where they just where it's dry and you put on fresh white. I just picked up a little bit of unbleached titanium. I'm gonna yeah, it is. This is a great color. I broke up with it for a while, and but we're getting back together. Yeah, it's like I broke up with it because I was like, it just seemed like it was dry and kind of chalky. Um, but now when my paintings are done, I kind of spray them with this kind of a varnish that's it gives it a kind of and it doesn't say whether it's satin or whatever. It's just, it's an acrylic, or yeah, it's, no, it didn't even say acrylic. It just says varnish for watercolors, pastel, and, you know, acrylic. That's what it says. So it's by Krylon, and I like it. I like it. So it gives it just a kind of a soft, you know, little tiny bit of a glossy sheen, but satiny. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. So I like it. This girl, she's having problems. She's she's a big girl. She's she was the tallest girl in her whole class. You know? So I'm just gonna indicate that this is like her leg down here, like this. You know, I'll fix this before she's out in the world. I'm gonna pick up some of these shadowy colors, kind of, in these blue. Look at the blues against that. Um, I'm gonna put a little thingy on her.
Continue with that same size brush?
I'll get to my smaller brush. This is my 1/2 inch right here. I love this brush too. I'll get in there and do some, um, I'll get smaller. And then this is a little tiny square, about 1/4 of an inch maybe. And, I could get some little details with that. And then I sign it with that. And that's it. Those are my brushes. I have hundreds of them, but they're all these brushes. So, yes, there's so much you can do with angle. There's just so much. You can get a point, you can get a line, you can turn it around, you get flat. It's just versatile, and it just gives you way more control. And you'll just love it if you try it. Yeah, this thing's going to need some work. Now watch, see, I got that skin really dark. I'm going to go in with uh, burnt sienna. Oops, burnt sienna's nice color. I mean, all these colors I used in watercolor. Pardon? No, I don't use black at all. I use the Hooker's green is my black with the alizarin crimson. It's still got some warmth to it. Black doesn't have, black is not, it's not good. Don't use it. It's not warm or cool. It'll kind of kill the painting. Little raw sienna. Then I could finish these. No, I'm just kidding. Huh. I don't know. I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do with this. Oh, she's got one finger out. It's fun. Watch this. I'm going to throw a little red, orangey red right there. These wash ladies, they're really good sellers for me. Not that that makes any difference, but people like them. And they're no particular place. They just kind of like have happiness to them, and they're pretty colors. I'm trying to cut another. I love cutting the profiles. Sometimes it's not so good. Yeah, oh well. You can't say I'm not brave, right? And that's another thing I tell my students all the time. You'll never be a good painter unless you're a brave painter. Just dumbly brave sometimes. Just be brave, take chances, jump in there. It's like as Burge says, it's a what if. What if I were to try this? What if I were to do that? And it can be so rewarding that way. But if you're afraid to try something that is just going to be too weird, then you're just never going to learn whether you can do it or not. Shock the people you love. It's fun. Where? Huh? Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, they all kind of get on my nerves because lately I probably should invest. I should probably go with, you just never know. I mean, they're all made in China right now. But they warp, they get warped in all this Florida weather and stuff. It's just impossible. If my paintings are going to hang in a booth over the weekend, if it rains or whatever, and they're going to hang there all night, by the time I get them back to the gallery, well, they're going to be a little wonky off the wall. I found a solution to that problem, and I'll tell my customers, you just get those commando strips, the good ones, and you can put them on your wall. They won't ruin your wall, but you can get the four corners of your canvas to stick on the wall, kind of flatten out, and that'll be good. But yeah, canvases are, they're just a wood frame. And I think it's the quality of the wood frame that makes the difference. It's not the canvas itself. See, this is, well. Oh yeah, sorry. I should. No, I don't. When I plein air paint, I do. When I buy the small, yeah, I think I'm gonna plein air this year. And we're gonna because Mount Dora has a plein air week, and I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna put that on YouTube, I think. So that'll be fun. We're just getting so techo, my kids are getting, well, they don't. Use other platforms like Patreon. No. I know my daughter-in-law put me on like Instagram. Yeah, I don't even deal with that. I don't want to have to think about that stuff. I'm throwing in a little bit of that unbleached. This lady came into my gallery from Jamaica, and I used to make these well, I do sometimes too, because I love to paint like wicker, and I had it all wicker. And she goes, I'm from Jamaica, and my grandma used to wash the clothes in the river, and we would never use a wicker basket in the water. And I went, you're right. But it looks better, So I know. So guess then I Googled stainless or steel buckets, steel tubs. And I kind of looked at them and studied it and thought, well, maybe that makes more sense. I'm going to go to my smaller brush. Here it is. Just water. And every now and then you can use Murphy's oil soap on them. It's like a little spa day. Oh, spa day. I know. And another thing, you can put them in vodka. That's a real spa day. But yeah, but yeah, but that's true. Yeah, Soak them in Murphy's oil soap. Also, if you get acrylic on your clothes, you can, Murphy's oil soap will get it out a lot of times. So, I have acrylic paint on everything I own, I think. But I just really like it. And I hope I've inspired somebody in this room to give it a try. Has anybody wanted to try it? So I'm going to turn these girls around.